or prevent. Prevent. Do you understand what the word prevent means? Or do I need to define that as well? It was indeed preventable because whether you admit to being behind the wheel of that truck illegally or not, you were most definitely doing something you should not have been doing that day that caused you to go so severely off of the road and not overcorrect, but rather turn completely left into my husband, severing his truck in two and crushing his beautiful body, thus taking him away from us all.
State of Ohio versus Franklin Gross. Mr. Goodyear, is there a statement from a victim or representative of the victim?
Yes, sure. I believe there are people who like to speak. And
Hi, my name is Sherry Wills. I'm the wife of David Randolph Wills. I've often said that I'm so thankful that I am not God, because I wouldn't want to have to pass judgment upon those who have decided to go against his laws and commandments, which were the original laws and still remain the original laws and commandments that are in place today. And those that choose to go against those laws and commandments must be judged. And I want to thank you for what you do every day for thousands of families like mine. I have prepared something that I've written 100 times over and over and over again that I would like to read. And I thank you all for your patience. And I thank my family, my friends, for being here today to honor my husband and to support me and our children. I would first like to begin by saying thank you to the court for all you have done, and the prosecution, and my victim's advocate, in our doing to see that justice is served for my precious husband, Mr. David Randolph Wills. I would also like to sincerely thank the first responders who were on the scene April the 14th, 2025. Though they may not be present today in court, it is important to mention that what they do on a day-to-day basis is most definitely among life's hardest ways to serve others. To Trooper Bailey, I extend my truest appreciation, delivering a nightmare to a wife and allowing her to fall apart in shock while her face is buried blindly in your chest goes beyond the call of duty. Please know that it has meant the world to me, and my husband would most certainly offer thanks to you as well, so today I will be his voice for that. I would like to read an excerpt from one of my journals written to my husband during a vulnerable moment when the pain was at a level almost too intense to humanly endure. Though he did not with intention plan to take the life of my husband and the father of our children, his decisions were the result of this horrific thing happening, and most definitely are what caused my husband's death, sending us into a pain and shock that is indescribable.
Wait. Right from the start, you can feel this courtroom getting heavy. This isn't just another sentencing. Nah, this victim's wife walks up, and the entire room goes dead quiet. She's thanking everyone, but you can tell something much bigger is coming. I mean, she's about to read from her own journal, and the judge's face already looks completely locked in. Wait for it, because this only gets more heartbreaking in the next...
There's no better way in my mind to share the impact than to share the heart of a wife who suddenly, without warning, and with no goodbye, found herself without the love of her life. Randy was a human being who achieved many accomplishments. He has many that love him. He wasn't just a, quote, freak, unquote, accident that changed your life, Franklin Gross. Your decisions took his and changed our lives for the rest of our lives. To understand the impact, one would have to follow that of myself and our children around for as long as we live. Every single day, every moment of life and happening, we will be affected. Franklin Brian Gross, you are now living every single second in the reality of the consequences of your actions. And so were we. The decision you made on April the 14th, 2025, to get behind the wheel of a vehicle that you obviously were not capable of driving not only impacted your present and future in this world and beyond, but have impacted my life, my children's lives, and our grandchildren. But does that matter to you?
Does.
Or is it your own welfare that matters to you? And I will say again, or is it your own welfare that matters to you? As this court is aware, you wrote a letter and had it sent to our home describing your scars and how in your mind it was a freak accident. A freak accident, Franklin Gross, is defined as being, and I quote, a harmful incident caused by a unique, highly unlikely, and unexpected sequence of events, making it difficult to predict or prevent. Prevent. Do you understand what the word prevent means, or do I need to define that as well? It was indeed preventable because whether you admit to being behind the wheel of that truck illegally or not, you were most definitely doing something you should not have been doing that day that caused you to go so severely off of the road and not overcorrect, but rather turn completely left into my husband, severing his truck in two and crushing his beautiful body, thus taking him away from us all.
Bro, she just switched from grieving wife to absolute truth teller. I mean, she looks straight at him and starts tearing apart the whole freak accident. Excuse 1. Peace. Hat. A-time. Then she asks, what were you doing? And wow, chuckle, you can almost see the judge sitting there without blinking, just listening to every word. Trust me, she's not even close to being finished.
I said goodbye to my husband that morning, and the next time I saw him, he was in a casket. In a casket. A clear sky, nothing in the road to cause you to wreck. What were you doing? I read the accident report many times, and you lied. You lied and said my husband was in your lane, which of course was debunked. Don't you dare tell me about your scars. As for forgiveness, it is in the word of God that I must do so with my heart. However, you must know that there is a much higher court that you will one day appear before. And then that one is not of this world, and I would fear that one much more than this. And what your sentence in eternity holds depends upon whether or not you are truly in your heart repentant and being honest with yourself and with God. And have you asked God to forgive you? He is the one that needs to forgive you. So, I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you before my God, before my husband, and before my children. However, I ask again, is it that you are truly sorry for your actions? Or was that request asked in the hopes for an easier sentence? Again, only God knows. And this is not a game. You will stop breathing one day when God says. And that is when you will be standing before God. I implore you to be honest with yourself and honest with God and honest with this judge. To my husband, how can I continue in this life without you? How can I continue to breathe when I'm fighting to live? Fighting. Do you see me? Do you feel me? Not a moment goes by that my body and mind doesn't ache for you. It can only be by the grace of God himself that I can live the remainder of my life without you. The separation, I feel like a child left in the wilderness. How many times have I been to the site where you left me? So many times. I go and stare at the indentions in the road, wondering. I wonder if you realize what was happening, what went through your mind, what was the last word on your lips. I wonder who removed the wedding ring from your finger. It will only leave my body when someone removes it as I come to be once again by your side, when for me the noise of this life is over. Sharing my life with you has been the greatest life-giving joy I have ever known. I have learned so much from you. How can I thank you for loving me, being true to me? Oh my God in heaven, I need you like I've never needed you in my life. Give me the strength I need for me and our children. My husband served his country and raised his children with love. He graduated at the top of his class from medical school, was an author, musician, and so many other wonderful things. To quote the lovely song, Something in the Heavens, until the day I die, I will dream of you. In a million lives, you are the one I choose. Thank you for allowing me to share my heart today.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Melissa, is there anyone else? Okay.
Nah, this got real fast. She forgives him, but then immediately asks if he's actually sorry or just hoping for an easier sentence. That's cold, because it's a question nobody in that courtroom can answer except him. So then she starts reading about visiting the crash site, and the judge's expression says everything. Wait, the prosecution is about to make things even worse.
Mr. Goodyear.
Your Honor, in addition to what Ms. Wills had to say, I would just say that obviously we're talking about a felony of the fourth degree that we're considering a sentence here for. It's a mandatory prison sentence, so the question is how long should it be between 6 and 18 months? And consider the situation. I would point out to the court, number one, the defendant was on PRC at the time he committed this offense. He was convicted of rape in 2016, went to prison, was released from prison, and then began working as a truck driver. One thing about that, although it really doesn't have bearing on the case itself, I think it has bearing on his attitude and his mindset towards the case. In his PSI, he, for some reason, continues to deny he committed the rape he went to prison for. At the same time, he denies basically any real wrongdoing in this case. Clearly, Judge, the felony of the fourth degree exists in this case because the allegation was that he caused Mr. Will's death negligently, and then because his license was not valid, it makes it a felony of the fourth degree. And in his statement to the court through the PSI, Mr. Gross to this day denies that his license was in any way not valid. And I don't know if you recall exactly the circumstances, Judge, but the allegation in this case was that Mr. Gross has medical conditions that would not allow him to operate the truck he was operating. He then falsified a certification necessary through the B&B, and that's how he was able to have what really wasn't a valid license because he had committed a fraud. There is no evidence of an intention, of course, to kill the victim in this case when the accident occurred. He took steps that were intentional that created the situation that led to the victim's death. The idea that he was operating a vehicle that he very well knew he should not have been operating, and there was never a trial in this case, so Judge, you didn't see a lot of the evidence that exists. There is a video of the accident, and it's horrific. The defendant was driving, went right of center, overcorrected, went into the lane and killed Mr. Wills. Mr. Wills was driving a pickup truck, and the pickup truck was completely demolished as a result of this impact. And Ms. Wills points out something I think is very important too. His first instinct when he was confronted after this accident was to lie. He lied and said someone came into his lane of travel, and he corrected for that, and then that caused the accident. That's not what took place, and there's evidence that proved beyond any doubt that that's the case. And Judge, throughout his statements in the PSI, he expresses remorse for the fact that he caused Mr. Will's death, but he denies really any wrongdoing on his part other than, as Ms. Will said, a freak accident. And that's
Wait, the prosecutor just walked in and started stacking receipts. Bro wasn't talking emotions anymore. He was talking facts. Previous conviction, invalid license, allegedly lying after the crash, and then he mentions there's video of the accident. You can almost see the judge leaning in, because this story just got a whole lot heavier. But wait! The defense is about to try changing the entire narrative.
That's not why this took place. This took place because he made a decision to drive a vehicle he was not supposed to drive at a time he was not supposed to be driving, and but for that decision, Mr. Wills would be alive today.
I appreciate the statement that's made by Mrs. Wills. Despite the fact that there's no intention that does not mitigate the loss for her. There's no mitigation to this in terms of what she is feeling, despite the fact that a lack of intention is extremely important to the court come sentencing time. And it puts the court in a slightly different position than what it is used to, in that the vast majority of people who come before this court for felony sentencing are here purposefully. That whatever they did intentionally, purposefully, and that's really not the case here. What we have as an underlying cause of the accident are actually minor misdemeanors. What we have is a situation where he failed to get the medical clearance letter in order to renew the CD. It's not that he couldn't drive. He didn't have the medical letter which exempted him. And those medical letters are all too common, quite frankly. He has been a CDL holder and a truck driver since his release from the penitentiary. Parole authority sanctioned him as a result of this particular case, and he has already served a 6-month sanction on this case, which I think is significant. Early on, before there was a conviction, before there was really anything in this case, he sent on his own a letter of apology to the family. His education level is what it is, Your Honor. The letter that I've seen and documents that I've seen from him include, quite frankly, a number of grammatical and spelling errors. Doesn't mean that he doesn't feel remorse. It's just that his ability to express that is limited, perhaps pre-sentence report, that he will live with this for really the rest of his life, and he feels responsible for this. Obviously, he's not the owner of the truck. He didn't feel that the truck was handling properly on that particular day. I don't know that there was a inspection necessarily of the truck because of the amount of damage that was done to determine whether it was roadworthy or not, but he felt that there were issues on that particular day. He obviously had driven God knows how many miles previously to that particular day in various commercial vehicles and not had that sort of a situation where there was a really quite bad accident.
Here comes the defense, and they're basically saying, look, this was intentional. I mean, they're trying to paint this as paperwork, medical clearance, and unfortunate circumstances instead of reckless choices. Chuckle the judge keeps listening, barely reacting, like he's weighing every single word. But then, the defendant finally gets his chance to speak, and that's where things get really uncomfortable.
I just want to say that I am very remorseful for your family and mine. I'm sorry it was an accident. I've been driving over 30-some years, and the truck wasn't handling, the load shifted. It was a really bad accident, and I don't have any words to bring relief to bringing Mr. Wills back. I just want you guys to know that deeply, truly in my heart, and I've asked for God to forgive me, but I can't forgive myself. I don't know of any other words that I can say that would make any of this any easier on any of you guys or my family or your family. All I really have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This is very difficult. There's two dynamically different sides. I just want to indicate that
Bro finally speaks, and honestly, you can hear the remorse, but he still calls an accident. He says he's asked God to forgive him, but can't forgive himself. Heavy stuff. But then you look over at the judge, and he's sitting there with that serious expression like he's already thinking 3 steps ahead. Wait, because what the judge says next changes the entire mood of Courtroom.
I understand the difficulty of describing in the English language the pain that you feel. I lost my nephew. Sort of similar. His friend had too much to drink and he burned the house down. And 39 years ago, this Monday, and I understand that there's nothing that can alleviate your pain. It's very difficult. I also understand that every single person in this courtroom who's ever driven before could have found himself in the situation you're in by what appears to be possibly not paying attention for a particular moment, distracted, whatever. It's frustrating to see how you lied about this, and that's not helping you. You basically lied to the police about what happened. Maybe it was just so much fear involved in the fact that you have been in trouble before, which I can't hold against you and won't hold against you. You served your time for that crime. You're on supervision for your actions subsequent to that, not for what happened then.
Now, this is why Courtroom videos are so intense. The judge actually shares a personal tragedy, then suddenly pivots. He says almost anyone could make a mistake behind the wheel, but then comes a hammer. You lied. Bro, the courtroom goes completely still. You can almost picture the judge locking eyes with him. And trust me, he's not done talking yet.
The bottom line is you shouldn't have been driving that truck at all. If it was simply because you didn't get the letter that you could have gotten, you still didn't get it. You didn't have it. And ultimately, there is a purpose for these rules and these laws. You're not charged with intentionally killing anyone. You're charged basically with negligently taking the life of someone, negligently operating a vehicle, and you caused the death of another. It's elevated simply because you shouldn't have been driving. And there has to be a consequence. And I wish we weren't here, not as much as they wish we weren't here, for sure, and probably not as much as you wish we weren't here. But somebody's got to make a call on this, and that's the bottom line. I'm applying the law. I'm taking into consideration the things that are in your favor and that are not. The reason you're not charged with a higher level felony is because this didn't involve intentional behavior. But it did involve negligent behavior, and it's elevated because of some decisions you made. Maximum is 18 months in the case. You've, at least from a legal perspective, you've accepted responsibility by entering the plea in the case, which I have to take into consideration. The sentence is 12 months on the case. He has credit, which, I don't know, you might want to verify this, as credit is 67 days. But I guess the PRC doesn't count as credit.
Yeah, correct.
I'm not revoking PRC.
Right.
But he gets 60 days credit for the time he has served in the case. Driver's license suspension is 4 years, which is the maximum driver's license suspension.
Judge, I don't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry. It's a class 4 suspension. The maximum is 5 years.
5 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, since I said 4 years, it'll be 4 years. I'm sorry. The driver's license suspension is 4 years, and that's effective today. Mr. Mulligan from the defense?
Not today, Your Honor. Subsequently, at the appropriate time, we will be requesting driving privileges pursuant to statute.
Okay. That's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I mean, this is the moment everyone's been waiting for. The judge explains exactly why the law has to step in, and you can tell this isn't personal, it's responsibility. Then the sentence finally comes down, followed by one last unexpected courtroom twist that nobody saw coming. Chuckle, what a case. If you enjoyed breaking this one down with me, make sure you like, subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments.